What's up, guys? Steven here today. And today, what I wanted to talk to you about is self love and self awareness. The two magical ingredients that create a swaggy ass human being and a motherfucking game changing hybrid. So, what do I mean by that? To me, self love I define as essentially loving every single part of yourself, your ideas, your ways of seeing the world, your ways of viewing reality, right? And the particular perspective, the particular set of eyes that you have on reality and the world. And by doing that, you're essentially empowering yourself to go all in on whatever it is that you're good at, right? Whatever it is your strength, whatever it is that you're really good at, whether it's you're funny, whether it's you're really charismatic, whether it's like you're really intellectual, whether it is you're analytical, whether it is you're crazy, fucking insane like me, or incredibly creative. By loving yourself, you're allowing yourself to fully channel your energy, your life force into those ways of being. Once you do that, you essentially quit stifling yourself. You essentially remove that seal on expression, that seal on even living, that essentially makes you think that no, you need to cater to this particular mold or this particular way of being or this particular identity, right? That like is sold to you by other people, family, society, blah blah blah, right? So by fully loving yourself, having self-love, you're able to literally be a game changer because you're able to be who you're meant to be who your soul is meant to be who you're meant to be, as RSD puts it, right? Now, self-awareness, what I define that as, is being able to navigate the multi-dimensional aspects of reality, right? It's also being able to know how to fully put your talents, your skills, the strength that you have to maximum or optimum use into the world, right? If you're fucking insane at writing and you're also intellectual and analytical, then because you're powered by self-love, you're not afraid to put your ideas out there into a blog, right? If you're extremely, if you're an athlete and like you have an insane awareness or insane spatial awareness, or even have this intelligence when it comes to movement, right? Then you're able to go full on and become an athlete, right? Or even better, if you're incredibly creative, but you're also good with numbers, right? And you're good with people. You have emotional intelligence, and you also have somewhat of an intelligence, right? Just like what you call a knowledge of all, right? Like being able to know different things, but more importantly, seeing the big picture and how they connect the dots. Then you are able to easily go into entrepreneurship and go all in, right? So self-awareness kind of deals with how the ability to choose the most effective channels to essentially output your talents. That's how I define it, right? And then at the same time, it's also kind of being cognizant of the fact that in different environments, in different situations in life, the context that you find yourself in will kind of demand maybe different parts of yourself, or it will kind of demand you to calibrate. That's the perfect way of putting that. And calibrating, for the sake of purpose and understanding and clarity, I'll define it as being able to essentially shift your mode of operation to the most effective frequency that allows you to operate and essentially act in that current moment, right? So, for example, if you're playing sports, then like you need to be more energetic, right? And you need to dial up even the self-amusement part, the essentially the freedom or the love of just doing things for the sake of your own happiness, right? And then you also kind of have to dial in the empathy and like teamwork skills, like being able to connect the dots. Not only that, but also see how your movement is in sync with other people's movements around you, right? If you're at the fucking club and you're pimping it, then like you dial up self amusement way high and empathy way high. You don't really have to focus too much on the teamwork aspects, right? So every single moment requires different parts of yourself. But it's kind of funny. I was trying to figure out how best to put it, but it's almost like the self-awareness is essentially a play on like a few select dials, which is just self-amusement, empathy, and then relatability, right? Like how much you strive to make sure that the other person can actually understand what you're saying, but more so actually like what you're saying, right? Likability, relatability. I think that's kind of what I meant to say. Like they go hand in hand, right? Because sometimes, for example, in the business settings, it's not a good idea to be likable because it might stifle you from actually telling you the truth and telling a client what will actually help them, right? So, but other times, maybe you're like at church or something, or some weird shit like that. Like you don't really need to like be super polarizing, right? But more just like be harmonious and enjoying the flow. Now, as a human being, and it's kind of cool because like the other coin, the self love, by having love for yourself more than anything else, you're kind of always being yourself. You're kind of always polarizing, but in your own way, right? And I guess my point is that depending on the situation, the level of intensity or the need to be externally polarizing is what changes, right? And what dictates the personality or the person or even the identity that you're going to take on in that situation. So that's my point. But I think the biggest thing that I wanted to say is that like the world needs you, right? The world needs your input. The world needs what you have to offer. Whether it's like that crazy blasphemous idea or just like that way of looking at things in a completely different way, or even that creative aspect of yourself or that dot connecting ability that essentially allows you to see how something done in one industry could be extremely useful and a game changer in another. The world needs that. And my point is, by not loving yourself, right, you're essentially we're all losing out, right? By you not putting out that crazy game-changing idea or having that self-love to be confident and fully unapologetically put out your view, whether it's like contradictory to what most people think or revolutionary or even extremely agreeable. Like we're all losing out because on some level, I would say you're a special snowflake and your input matters because there's no way of getting that combination, that spiritual level of insight, those experiences, those beliefs, experiences, everything that makes up you, your soul. There's no way of 100% copying that. And so that's how you help the world, right? Like by you being you and fully putting yourself out there, you move us forward. And when you don't do that, you're essentially there's kind of like a way of putting it. There's a lack in the world, right? There's a hole that needs to be filled. And like the way I see it, like we're all like this. If you look at the Earth from space, it's just one fucking globe, right? But then if you think about it and you zoom in, all of a sudden it's like, holy shit, it's like trillions and trillions and trillions of little pieces that just dot in, different colors, different varieties, different cultures, blah, 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 that come together to make the magnificent picture that is the Earth, right? And it's like by you not putting yourself out there or being you, it's like if somewhere there is a missing piece of the puzzle. And as we all know, you can have if just one piece of the puzzle is missing, you won't have the complete picture. And in my personal opinion, that's probably why there's a lot of bullshit in the world today. People who are quiet but are true game changers in every sense of the word are just too shy, too afraid to say anything. Maybe because in the past they've been wronged or hurt, and it's kind of just cut at that self esteem and that confidence, and they don't have that self love. And so now we're all lacking, right? But if those people spoke, holy shit, the things we would be creating, right? So just kind of be aware of that and like work on that part, and just remember that we need you, and you are a special snowflake, as gay as that sounds. Because when you're not there, whether people say it or not, energetically, it's fucking felt. So now, I guess with that in mind, how do you develop self-love and self-awareness, right? Well, I'll take it directly from RSD, and they have this idea. Tyler talks about this idea where what you want to do is execute on every single idea that you have, right? And how he explains it, it's like, think of it as like a blackboard, right? And your ideas are the writings on the blackboard, right? Once you execute on the idea, the writing or writing on the blackboard is cleared, right? Now, because of self-love and the inherent nature of reality that is, the fact that growth is a real and tangible phenomenon, what happens is the next idea that comes about will be a higher quality idea. Even if it's better by just this much, it makes a huge difference, right? So by executing on every single idea that you have, you're essentially making it to where incrementally over time, your ideas become more and more higher quality. When you don't execute on the idea, what happens is it just sits there for years and years, stagnating. And on some level, you kind of feel it. It sounds weird, but your energy is like, I'm not moving. I'm not growing. What do? What the fuck am I doing here? And that's when you start, I guess, for lack of a better term, become spiritually sick, and it manifests in different ways. Depression, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to make a blanket statement, right? Overgeneralization. You're sick and you have cancer and all this AIDS and all this bullshit because you're spiritually sick. But I want to kind of offer another way of looking at it, right? And more than anything, as I always talk about, try to look for the root cause of everything instead of just the symptoms. Because you can cure the symptom, but then another symptom will come back. But once you uproot the root cause, everything that has been plaguing you goes away, right? So execute on good ideas. Execute on it, execute. And have the utmost belief, as they put it, that the next idea will be better. And by doing that over time, you actually start loving the ideas that you have. You're like, holy fucking shit, I'm actually fucking awesome! Not for anyone else, but simply because it's coming from you, right? As they put it, you have value because of you. Inherent because you're a human being. Because, and I go an extra step level, you're a life form, right? You're living here on Earth and you're fucking alive. Not because of any bullshit, any status, money, fame, blah. It's because you're you, right? Back to the whole snowflake thing. So that's how you can, one practical way of cultivating self-love. Now, a practical way of cultivating self-awareness, and it sounds kind of gay, but I think meditation is a great way of doing that. And again, I'll probably add a link to the 5-minute meditation video that I shared a while ago. But the reason why I say meditation is because self-awareness, I think the most important thing, the, I guess, game-changing mind shift to becoming more self-aware is remembering that at the end of the day, there is something beyond the thoughts, there is something beyond the person talking, beyond Steven just blah 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 blah, or Jason blah 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 blah. There is something beyond that, and I like to call it the soul, right? Some people call it the mind, some people call it the conscious operator. But it's this thing that essentially observes everything that is, right? And what meditation does, it allows you to kind of more and more slowly and steadily become in touch with that mode of operation. And once you realize that, hey, first and foremost, there is something that observes, you stop becoming attached with the bullshit that goes on. You stop becoming attached with negative ideas or thoughts or even things that occur in your life, because you just realize, I'm just observing this wave going through me. I'm just experiencing this moment, whether it's pain, whether it's joy, whether it's suffering, or whether it's happiness. And so it allows you to gain greater perspective, literally gain altitude over anything that occurs to you, right? So, and I guess a quick synapse to meditation, it's literally all about just sitting there and becoming conscious of your breath. Because I think there's some, I don't want to say hypnotizing, but almost it's the fact that you're getting in touch with the natural rhythm, like this natural cadence, the up and down of the inhale and exhale. It almost forces you to slow down and kind of let all the other petty bullshit go away. And slowly but surely, you start realizing, there is all these sounds around me that I'm not even aware of. You start becoming aware of like the sensations of your body, right? You start literally becoming aware of all the fucking stimulus going around, whether it's like the low hum just humming away in the background of like the refrigerator, or even the fucking sound of the birds, right? You literally start becoming more aware of everything that goes on. And that's why meditation is such a game changer, because it really just brings you back to this current moment and makes you observe everything that goes on. Once you're able, and what happens is the more and more you do that, the more and more you take conscious control. You start consciously making things happen. And that's such a difference than just blindly hoping for the best, right? Once you notice how someone's bobbing of their shoulder or their right hand because maybe they had surgery there, causes them to essentially move towards you or even add way more necessary force on the soccer ball, then you're able to consciously essentially position your body in a way that puts you at an advantage whenever you receive the ball, right? Or it puts you at an advantage whenever you have to trap the ball, turn it, and go towards the goal, right? It literally makes you start noticing all those small details that once you notice them, literally, and start like acting on that data, acting on that information, literally makes it seem as if you're like foretelling the future, when in reality you're just more present and more observing and more listening than most people are. So that's a practical way of developing your self-awareness. Sit there, breathe, and then just slowly start paying attention to what you feel, to what you see, and to what you hear. Anyways, hope you guys get something out of this, and as always, swag the fuck out.